So let's talk about achievable. What does achievable mean?
It can be done in the universe.
Can be done in the universe. The achievable part is the personal part. So when we talk about building a SMART goal, it goes back to that identity iceberg. Is it achievable for you? So in building that plan, here are some questions you can ask yourself. How close, what is in your personal history? What track record have you had in the past? Says you can do it. Okay? What percent of your goal, of your plan, is dependent upon others? What percent of your plan and target is dependent upon the marketplace? How much of it do you control? How much is influenced by others? More importantly, do you believe it? When you write that goal and you write that plan, do you believe it to your core? Can you visualize yourself achieving that result on time, on budget, when you want it? If it's not, then it's not achievable for you. Does it motivate you? If it doesn't motivate you, it's probably not achievable. If it's going to feel like work, it's probably not achievable. So when you're building your plan, you're writing your targets. Make it achievable for you, believable, in your own head. How close have you come before to achieving that target? I mean, one of the favorite stories I tell in my workshops, I'm a hockey fan. So for those of you not in North America who don't really follow hockey, I'm a huge hockey fan. But in North America, hockey teams, we all play to win. Professional teams, sports teams play to win. Our local team, Calgary Flames, had set a goal one year to win their division. Simple enough. So they set out their path to win their division. It's an 82-game season. What's interesting is they would win a bunch of games, get to the top of the division, and what seemed odd to me is they seemed to go on a losing streak. And what that seems odd, like, what is going on? And in the public eye, was from the team itself, was we want to win our division. Because years before, they would go into the playoffs, and the home team has home ice advantage by winning the division. So they felt if they won the division, they would have home ice advantage, then increase their chance of success. At the end of the season, I'm doing a presentation. I said to a friend of mine, I said, you know what? I think their goal sucked. And he goes, what do you mean? I think they actually wrote a goal that wasn't big enough. He goes, you're an idiot. I said, okay, just humor me. And my friend is a research junkie. He loves spreadsheets. He's a huge sports fanatic. I said, so what would it take to do the research? I mean, can you do the research and tell me the Calgary Flames record was at each point in the season and where they were in the standings? Yeah, I can probably do that. So a couple $100 later, a couple beers later, here's what's interesting. Okay, 82-game season. 6 times they had gotten to the top of their division in an 82-game season. Sorry, 8 times. 6 times they played a game as division leader. Guess what their record was in those 6 games? Over. Didn't win a single game as a division lead. More interesting, on one occasion they lost 6 games in a row. On 3 occasions they lost 2 games in a row. So, was that goal achievable for them? Yeah. And in subsequent interviews with one of the defensemen who was on the team, because the news part is they finished the season as the division lead, went to the playoffs. The record in the playoffs was 0-4, they got swept. Talking to the players after the fact, the interesting part when they asked the answer, why was it? We won our division. Then the other teams know that we were just supposed to win. They stopped learning. And they had believed what their goal was. They had achieved it already. It wasn't big enough. So when you write your plan, make sure it stretches you. Make sure you believe it, and it can be good, because if it's too small, guess what? You just might get it. Make sure it's personal. And the one I like here is, how much of your plan can you execute unconsciously competent? If you have to think about every part of your plan and 100% of your plan you have to work hard at and do, it may not be achievable. But if you can execute 60 to 70% of your plan unconsciously competent, you got a better chance of success. So make sure when you're writing your plan and you're sharing with your friends and colleagues and coaches and with your clients ask them the question. How much of this plan is, can you execute in your sleep? Can you just do automatically because of the skills and the knowledge you have already? If it's too much, if too much of it is consciously competent, you're going to have limited success. So build that into your planning as well. And it's got to be personal. It's got to align with your morals and values. If it doesn't, you won't do it. It won't be congruent with you. You'll struggle with it. You'll hate it. It won't be fun. So that's getting inside the achievable goals. So what I'd like to do now is, who went to conference last year? Who in the past couple of years has got a letter from themselves in the mail? Show of hands. Almost everybody. Great. For those who didn't raise your hand, has anybody written a goal in the past 12 months they didn't achieve? Show. Really? Yeah, okay, that's better. Okay? What I'd like to have music, what I'd like to do for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, for those who got a letter back in the mail, write down that goal that you didn't achieve in your letter that made you mad, that frustrated you. Write it down, go. There. Everybody have at least one? Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is find someone at your table and share it with them. Swap papers with them. But with the understanding that, and asking this question, if I gave you this to achieve, first question is it realistic for them? So do that at the table just for 30 seconds. Take that goal, share it with the person at the table and say, if you were to achieve this, is it realistic? So the conditions of realistic is physically possible in our physical world.
When you get to John and from where?
Flat. 30, number 1, 30 and 35.
Was that a goal? Did you actually say that?
So then I
said it was a goal in January.
Plan wasn't there. And then I'm like, well, why wasn't the plan there? As good as it could be. And then I thought, well, I've been working on product or process.
We were in the 9, 10.
Because I don't want the same old diamond crap that everybody else does.
What's interesting is I don't do
So
goals.
then I'm like, well, product process, I usually get very upset. Why isn't there product or process there? You know, well, maybe purpose. It really wasn't there of why I wanted diamond in that.
And make sure you share back and forth as well.
And does that affect
Thinking
so do you make your clients do it? So does that mean you're incongruent?
But is it realistic?
Probably, yeah.
Is it something that you actually really
if
want
I
to do,
did,
or do you
then
just
it
want
would
to multiple steps?
main thing.
I wouldn't mind the money that comes from it to do other things. Non-typical way.
Platinum by
It's got to be platinum.
leverage through what?
Setting it's not one to one approach.
Hello? Bring it back in, please. Thank you. So the first question is, was it realistic for that person to do?
Yeah.
So the next best question is, if we go back to the slide called achievable, if you give that task, that plan to the person across the table, is it now achievable? Just think, like don't talk, think about that amongst yourselves. If that person gave you that thing to achieve, is it now achievable? So we'll go back to the slides. Personal history, have you come close to doing something like that before? dependent is that plan or target on somebody else? Do you believe it's possible?
No, see, that was.
Does it motivate you? Would it jack you up? Okay. How close has that person or you come to achieving that before? So the fun part in doing this exercise, when I did it for myself, when I walked through the presentation, what I learned is that 98, 99% of the plans and goals we set are realistic. And the biggest roadblock of all is it's us. It's that achievable part. We give that task to somebody else, they'll admit, I can do that. So what's holding us back? What has to change in us? So part of that plan for you guys in the next day and a half is looking at that gap and who you are and what you need to learn to finish